Temper, in Shotcalling, refers to how the caller's emotions are shown to the group over the course of an encounter's progression. Tone of voice, attitude towards the team and the encounter, and the patience with progression are all aspects of a Shotcaller's temper that should be considered and continuously self-monitored. This may seem like an odd choice to pick for a first tenet to discuss, but I truly believe it is one of the most undervalued attributes that Shotcallers have, and the one that leads to more group frustration and resentment than most people may realize. When progression does not meet the caller or the group's expectations, it often leads to people voicing their discontent with some aspect of the progression itself. For example, encounter-centered complaints look like, "The boss has unfair mechanics. That shouldn't have hit me. The game engine is poorly optimized. This game sucks." Player complaints may look like, "Oh, they should know this mechanic by now. Stop dying to that. You guys need to focus up." Or the classic, long, drawn-out sigh over the mic. Progression is never a wholly fun experience. The satisfaction of clearing a new encounter is always served in part by how difficult the encounter was in the first place. However, issues arise when these comments permit the atmosphere of the group to turn negative. Venting is understandable, and issues may exist between players on the team, but I have seen more often than not that these kind of comments, stated quickly between polls without proper time to air out the details, will just breed group negativity. So, why is this something that the shot caller should pay particular attention to, more so than any other member of the team? Consider this. The shot caller will inevitably be the person speaking the most over the course of an encounter's progression. Understandable, considering that they are going to be the primary one using their mic actively during each pull. This means that their general attitude permeates the group atmosphere the most out of any single player on the team. When they tilt, the group is more likely to get tilted. When they maintain optimism, it is easier for the team to remain optimistic. Maintaining a positive group atmosphere during progression is often neglected. It is not part of the encounter's laid-out series of mechanics that requires in-game finesse and expertise. It instead requires a practiced empathy and an understanding of how a better atmosphere will result in better performance, as well as there being less stress during progression. This does not mean that there should be excess levity in the group where everyone can shrug off each mistake and ignore underlying issues within the group. Understand that there is a tactful way to keep progression out of the realm of frustration while being attentive to the group's issues and progression concerns. Here are some actions to take to ensure that you are actively attempting to have a good shot-calling temper. Consistently check your tone and wording regarding anything that involves fellow players. Always think before speaking about raider performance after wipes. Try to encourage underperforming players and ask if they need assistance. Do not jump to conclusions regarding player errors. Try to keep the group atmosphere in high spirits by making easily completable parts of the fight have some flavor. Focus up and make calm calls when new or difficult parts of encounters are coming up. Remain confident in yourself and use this confidence to assure others that they can depend on you if they need your assistance in learning something. And here are some actions to take if you want to have a poor shot-calling temper. Yell at people. Blame others for every mistake. Get passive-aggressive. Make very serious and stern callouts on easy parts of encounters. Vent your frustrations openly. Offer no solutions to problems. Expect everyone to play as well as you or better at all times. Do some long, drawn-out sighs over your mic during wipes. Vent to your stream chat about your group. I would like to illustrate through examples how these actions manifest in good and bad situations across different games, encounters, and skill levels. We'll start with a story from my own raiding experience. To set the stage, we are in an end boss encounter for one of Final Fantasy XIV's latest raid tiers. One of our healers has failed to do a mechanic properly 3 times in a row for a mechanic roughly 7 minutes into the fight. We have had very little issue advancing past this part of the fight in previous raid nights. The healer in question has not stated anything other than a quick sorry over party chat each time it has happened. Their co-healer has been getting increasingly impatient with the whole thing, typing in chat after the most recent wipe, quote, "This is unacceptable. We should be past this by now. Why are we messing up what we've been accomplishing for days already?" I'm beginning to fear for the stability of the group. My own frustrations with the healer are threatening to bubble out. Stop messing up the mech. We've been here before. You're wasting everyone's time. Can't you focus up for just 8 minutes so we can get out of this and move on? This is what first comes to my head when I'm about to queue up my mic before we just pull again without addressing the issue. I think for just a moment before actually speaking, remembering the moments where I worded discontent like that and remembered how poorly it made the group morale afterwards. I say instead, I think you may be getting distracted by something these past few polls. Is there something you need to take care of before we continue? They say yes. We take a 5-minute break. We come back in, we clear the phase with 0 incident. The group disbands after that evening. It was already agreed upon beforehand, but we did defeat the encounter that we were aiming on doing before so. I truly do think that someone may have just left early, or we may have failed to finish the encounter otherwise, if this situation was handled differently. It's an overall very tame situation, all things considered, but what is difficult to express without a full video for context is just how tight the tension in the group truly fell after that third failure. These events should be setting off alarms in any group lead's head. They need to handle the situation calmly, collected, and as soon as possible. It's easy to point fingers in times like these. Why didn't the healers speak up about needing a few minutes to handle other matters? What Shotcallers need to realize is that blame doesn't solve issues. Making the right decisions and saying the right things solve issues, regardless of who started them. Callers may be putting out fires they did not start, and the wrong wording and tone may act as kindling instead of a extinguisher. Now, for an example from the latest World of Warcraft Race to World First. Maximum of Team Liquid discusses during a post-progression Q&A session how he handled prevention of Raider tilt with one of the newer members of their roster. Let's take a look.
The moment you had with JPC was a pretty big... Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, the JPC thing, I'm guessing it's like a clip or something, but... Close that shit. Don't look at what they're saying.
Yeah.
You're good.
We're gonna get it.
I'm assuming you're talking about Rygolon. What happened was JPC made a mistake and wiped us 2 polls in a row, which happens to the best of us. And then I turned around and I looked at him, and he was sulking in his chair, and he did the thing you can absolutely never fucking do if you just made a mistake, especially if you are a streamer. I know this because I also stream, and I am the target of a lot of hate against our guild. And I saw him look at his chat, and I saw him sulk even more because I know what his chat was saying. No matter who you are, and he's a pretty upbeat person, that can fuck with you. So I just went over there and encouraged him and told him to close his chat, to ignore that shit, and then we were good, and then we killed it. He's new to this. He doesn't know that you can't do that.
Now, this was interesting for me to watch through Max's POV because I saw this fold out live on both Max's and the Team Liquid official streams. Chat in both streams were definitely dogpiling on JPC for causing several wipes in a row. This sounds a bit similar to our first story, doesn't it? The same principles apply in both situations. Max, seeing one of his raiders was causing some recent issues, went to encourage them and non-judgmentally asked them to fix whatever was causing them issues. This issue being JPC's understandable amount of fatigue after playing 16-hour days for, at this point, over a week and a half, in the first world first race of his entire life, which would cause a few wipes. This alone would be enough to demoralize most people who are self-critical. Stack on top of that the atmosphere of chatters berating you, and it can clearly become an unsavable spiral. Max does not say something to the tone of, play better or we're benching you, because he knows that even if that were a better short-term decision, the long-term team morale and therefore the long-term progression effectiveness would suffer more. He knows JPC has been a good and reliable part of the team for the race so far, and that he can overcome this issue with some motivation and reassurance. This is not really any single event to point out, but I do want to give a special mention to Rin Karigani. He has been a fixture of the Final Fantasy XIV hardcore raid scene for years, and he is a boundless font of enthusiasm. When he is not world progressing the latest raid, he spends his streams primarily teaching new players how to do the encounters he has done several hundred times already. This speaks volumes about his boundless patience as well. He strikes a good balance of levity during more practiced phases of encounters, while transitioning seamlessly into a more serious demeanor during the newer ones. I find his energy infectious, and he should be at the top of any Shotcallers list of resources when it comes to raid leading mentality and maintaining positivity during progression. I would advise watching any clear vid of his, or just checking out his stream, which I will provide links to in the description.
By the way, so it's great, good stuff on the 2-minute call-ups. That helps me a lot.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then finally 5 in German. Good stuff. Okay, you only almost killed us. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine.
I don't trust Mile. What?
The variance is strong. Busters are next with wing or tail. Be ready. And then Jekka and Rin will meet. It's going to be hot tail, and it's down. Jekka will be at Charlie. Good stuff. Sprint in. You ready to move? Go. Stop. Go. Andy's in. Andy out. Solace in. Mantra, Panheima, Jekka's Addle, Temperance. Start in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, your boss. Jekka's in.
So what does a bad shot-calling temper look like? While mapping out this video, I had originally planned for there to be plenty of clips to show what exemplifies what not to do as a shot caller with regards to managing one's temper. What I quickly realized while scrolling through potential videos was that some of these people have grown to regret their decisions that end up being public humor made at their expense. I also realized that there is not exactly a whole lot of nuance I can glean from pointing at a clip of a guy shouting at his raid team and say, yeah, don't do that. So, if you would like some viewing material, I would advise you do a quick YouTube search for WoW Raid Leader Rage, Final Fantasy XIV Static Leader Rage, etc. And I can promise that you can find some moments of people getting too heated at their raiding team, often reposted as react material for a streamer's amusement. However, I will share one of my worst moments of raid leading shame as an example of what not to do as a shot caller, in hopes that my personal perspective, years later, of what happened may add some nuance to the idea. I had recently formed a new guild at the start of a new WoW expansion with some real-life friends, friends of friends, family, etc. I had very big expectations for the guild that were completely unfounded, seeing as this was my first time playing WoW after a multi-year break, and no one in the guild had aspirations of doing anything other than playing with friends and generally having a good time. Fast forward to the third encounter of the raid tier, where there is a mechanic on a boss that has some small ads coming in to hurt the group from multiple angles. We're trying to corral them into one concentrated area on top of the boss, so that the people the ads are targeting won't get hit, and everyone else can cleave them down quickly. One of the members of the group had the responsibility of using his crowd controlling ability at a very specific time, at a specific place during the ad grouping, and using it at the wrong time would instead push the ads all in random directions. After just a few pulls of them not timing this properly, I queued up my mic and without a moment's hesitation said exactly what was going through my head without any other considerations. "You're really starting to piss me off." I cannot remember any more specific moments from this group. That one in particular still sits clear in my mind though. It's a good culmination of a myriad of factors coming to a head without me properly assessing several parts of the situation. Here I was, new to making callouts, trying to get a healer to do something very specific in a group where the prerogative was to play together with friends, not play well and try hard, and I'm venting openly over open mic with no tact, actively making everyone's time worse, and most likely just causing the healer in question more stress and frustration in the process. It's pretty much the perfect case of what not to do as a shot caller. No consideration for the group vibe, no understanding of the motivations of the group, no offers of encouragement, no asking if there's any part of the duty they have that they're having trouble with, no asking if there's anything the group can do to make their task easier, and no patience at all. After expressing the importance of the shot caller's temper, providing a non-exhaustive list of do's and don'ts of calling temper, and recanting stories of good and bad calls, I hope to have painted a better picture of what an adequate shot caller and raid leader ought to be on the lookout for while they are calling to maintain a good level of team morale, and how to escape the pitfalls many a caller often find themselves doing too late. I hope you found this video informative. Up next, we will be discussing consistency and its importance to shot calling. Thank you very much for watching.